I'm looking a little rough today.
You look beautiful.
Thanks, babe. Hello and welcome to Vlogmas Day 5. I think it is. We are on our way to get some Starbucks. And you probably think we go there every day, but we don't. We didn't go yet in yesterday's vlog.
We're about to.
Yeah, but we did it. We just went on a walk outside and it's a little chilly. It's 50 degrees. That's cold for us, or for me. So yeah, we're gonna go get some Starbucks and maybe run to the thrift store. I don't know, I kind of want to get out of the house for a little bit, so maybe we'll do that. But yeah, are you excited to do some thrifting, honey? Yes, you are.
Thanks for choosing Starbucks. This is Ashley. How can I help you today?
Hey, can I get a tall caramel latte with only one pump
Oh, syrup.
of
Tall
syrup?
caramel latte with only one pump.
Yep.
And
And
that's hot.
Yes.
yes.
Anything else?
And can I get a white chocolate mocha, also tall, and a hot one?
Okay.
No whipped cream on that.
You don't want any whipped cream on that?
Nope.
Okay. Anything else I get for you today?
Nope, that's it.
Alright, that'll be 907.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I should have asked, do you guys have any Krispy Kreme donuts?
Close the window, it's chilly. Got our drinks. Now let's go do some thrifting, honey. Woo woo. I just want to get out of the house for a little bit.
Ooh, we came just in time like that.
Oh yeah, we did. Now that line is like on the street. Yoo-hoo. We are back home now, and I didn't buy much at the thrift store. I just got a couple jars. I got this one, and then these two canning jars. So if any of you do any canning, you know that it has gone like crazy, like off the shelves. Like if you try to buy canning jars, either people are reselling them for like a ridiculous amount of, for a ridiculous price, or in the stores, a lot of the bigger jars are sold out. I have some smaller ones, but it's nice for like when you're canning like pickles or cucumbers, tomatoes. It's nice to have like the bigger size jars. So I just got a couple of those. And then I got this, it looks like you put like a candle in there, but I thought it would work too, like to put a plant inside and just have like a cute little outer cage basket, you can call it. So yeah, this was only $3. I thought it was kind of cute. And that's everything we got. There was quite a lot of people there. I was surprised. But yeah, now we are back home, and I think I'm going to hang some lights on our front porch. So we usually hang them on our house, and we have like this peak inside. But we just got our roof done, and we don't have our gutters on yet. And by the time we get those on, I think it'll be like halfway through December or after Christmas. So I think I'm just going to hang some on our front porch. But I have to figure out how I can attach them. I have the icicle lights. That's what we usually hang from the roof. So I was thinking to just do those on the railing. Usually, if you just have like the regular strand, you could wrap it around. But since I just have icicle lights, I have to figure out how to attach them. Maybe like, maybe zip ties. Yeah, we have some clear zip ties. I think I could just use those. So yeah, I think I'm going to go outside and do that before it gets too dark and too cold. It's pretty chilly, but it shouldn't take too long. Our porch isn't that big. I am back inside now. That took a little longer than expected. I always have this idea like, oh, I'm just gonna go do this, but it always turns into a bigger project. So I ended up cleaning up the back porch too. I had some plants that needed to go inside because of the cold. I have a couple lemon trees and a grapefruit tree on the back porch. They usually stand like out next to my garden beds, like my raised beds, but they don't like the cold. So I put them on the back porch, and last year I brought them in the sunroom, but they're getting pretty big and they're gonna take up a lot of room if I bring all 4 of them into the sunroom. So they're on the back porch. So I try to keep an eye out if the temperatures drop below freezing. I'll cover them at night. but I still feel like they're not too happy there. So I'm not sure. I have to do some research and see what I can do for them. Hopefully they survive throughout the winter. Last winter though, they weren't doing too good either, and they dropped like all their leaves. I had like little sticks left, and I was like, oh, maybe they'll die, maybe they won't. But they did pretty good. All the leaves came back. They came back stronger. I pruned them down. So I'm hoping one of these years I'll get some lemons. I still haven't gotten any lemons, so maybe next year, hopefully. So yeah, I cleaned off the back porch, and then the front porch I just had to clean up a little bit too. I still have some pumpkins out there from, you know, Thanksgiving and stuff. And I think maybe tomorrow or the day after, depending on the weather, maybe I'll cut some open, get some seeds out, and get rid of those. And so yeah, I hung the lights, and so that is done. I feel good because I was like, oh, I really want more lights on the house, but like I said earlier, we can't really hang them yet because our gutters aren't up. And so I was like, you know what, let me at least just put some on the railing. So I'm happy that at least I have some lights on the house. I love driving by and seeing all the houses with like pretty Christmas lights on them. So yeah, I'm going to show you here in a second, but I have a plant that I kept outside and it was a little too cold. So some of it kind of died off, so I need to trim that up. It's actually like a spider plant. And it actually does a lot better outside than it did inside for me. Inside, I felt like it just wasn't growing too well, and it kept getting, I don't know if it was insects or what was going on with it. But I brought it outside and it did a lot better. So I just have to trim the frozen or the dead parts off. I feel bad I left it outside, but yeah, Eddie lit up the fireplace. It is so nice and cozy. I love the sound of like the wood crackling. But yeah, it's so nice and cozy in here. I was thinking of maybe going through and watering some of my other house plants. I feel bad I've kind of been neglecting them. So I don't know. I still need to clean up the Christmas boxes here. I don't know if you could see. I already brought some in the attic earlier. But I'm just going to go through these one last time and see if there's anything that I think I will need. If I do, I'll pull it out, and then I'll have Eddie maybe bring him up to the attic, and if I ever need anything, I can just go up and get it. But I want to clean up this space because I feel like it's just, there's stuff everywhere, and I'm like, oh, I hate when my house is messy. Here is my poor spider plant that got a little too cold, so I'm just going to go through and cut off all of these dead leaves and go through and inspect it, make sure there's doesn't have any mites or anything, and maybe just like wash off the leaves in the sink. But first, I'm going to wash the dishes in here so that I can put the plant in the sink. This plant got a little bit of a haircut. I just cut all of that stuff off. It looks a little bit sad over here, but it'll grow back. This plant has gotten a haircut so many times and it always bounces back. But yeah, so I just kind of rinsed it off a little bit with some water because outside all of the pollen and stuff. So I'm just going to let it sit in here and just kind of have most of the water drain off and dry off. And then I'll put the plant into our guest room. I went ahead and brought in some of my other plants from the sunroom. This is just about like maybe a fifth or a tenth of the plants that I have. But I don't bring them in every week when I water them. Sometimes I'll just take the little watering can and go through and add some water, which ones need it, because some I feel like dry out faster than others. And I like to let most of them dry out between watering. I noticed that kind of works the best for most of them. But yeah, I bring them in and kind of show you what I do. So in here, I put one of these like, what is it, like a cooling rack or whatever, just to keep the pots off of the sink. This way the water will drain out. Sometimes I'll just pour the water straight from the faucet, or I'll turn this on. Or sometimes I like to use this watering can because I can really control how much I pour because it's a very small spout. This is just like a skewer for kebabs, just a wooden stick, because sometimes when the soil dries out a lot, for example in this plant, this guy's struggling a little bit, I feel bad, but this one always bounces back. I will go through and just kind of poke the soil through. This way when I water it, the water doesn't just pool and then like run off the edges. It kind of seeps through really well. Because when I bring them in here, I will water them through very well. And then I'll usually let them sit in the sink for a couple minutes, let most of the water drain out, and then I'll bring them back. So that's kind of my routine. And then I have a little brush here if I need to kind of clean up the pot. Sometimes the water will spill over and dirt will get on the pot. So yeah, that's just kind of my little routine that I do. So I brought a couple of them in, and I'm just going to go through, water them. Some of them need some maintenance. I feel bad, they've kind of been neglected recently. So yeah, I'll usually go through, trim off any dead leaves, or just kind of inspect them, make sure they don't have any mites or anything like that. This is one of my favorite plants. I love how long and trailing it is, or I love how long it trails. I have trimmed it up quite a few times, but it is just so pretty. And the pot for it actually isn't that big. Let me see if I can show you. It's actually not that big. And I recently repotted it. Yeah, it does really well. A lot of times if some of my plants are doing well, and for example like this one, I would think it would need a much bigger pot. Sometimes I will just leave it because I'm like, if it's doing well, that means it's fine. If I notice it starts looking sad, then I'll go ahead and check the roots and see if, it's really root bound, then I'll bump it up to a bigger pot. But it has been doing so well. I absolutely love it. And this plant I not recently, maybe like a month or two, got from Trader Joe's. I feel like a lot of times I get a lot of cool plants from there. I'm not sure what this one is called. Oh, Calathea. Oops, it probably won't focus. It's called a Calathea. And it's so pretty. I love the variegated leaves, like the different, what's it called? The stripes on there. It's so pretty. I know I have a lot of plants, but I like to have a variety. So I do have a couple like of the same ones. For example, like these pothos or pathos, whatever you want to call them, pothos. A lot of people have these because they're very easy to take care of. And this one I actually grew from cuttings. So one of my longer plants I trimmed and just put in some water until it had roots. Then I potted it up, and now it's also beginning to trail. It's really pretty. And this Monstera I also grew from cuttings. So I had a big plant that I bought, and for some reason it was just starting to die, and I was scared that I was going to lose the whole plant. So I just took a bunch of cuttings and same thing, put it in some water until it had roots and potted it up. And now it's doing really well too. This is actually one of the original old leaves from the plant. So I don't know if you can see, for example, like that stem right there, that's what I cut off, and all of this is new growth. And then I have one right in there. Sorry, probably can't tell, but that little one too. All of this is new growth as well. So yeah, if you have any plants, or if any of your friends or family have plants, a lot of times you can take cuttings instead of having to buy a whole new plant. And yes, it will take a little bit longer to grow, but it's so rewarding, you know, kind of clipping off a plant and then having it thrive and do so well. And then especially when it starts to trail like this, I'm like, oh, I love it. I love this sunroom tree. If you're new to my channel, I have one in the sunroom and one in the living room. And this one's more of like my rustic tree. It's so pretty. I have some cute ornaments. My sister got me this one last year. So sisters make the best friends. And she also got me these little skates. So cute. I love them. Look at these cute little owls. And then these little squirrels. I think that's what they are. So cute. So these are a couple of the plants that I just watered that you saw on my counter. I brought them back here. A couple of these I had outside. These are succulents. Sorry, it's kind of dark in here, but I always struggle with succulents. I don't know. Sometimes they thrive, sometimes they don't. I brought these outside in the summer. They're on the back porch and they were thriving until it got too cold. A couple of those accidentally I left out and the frost got to them. But this one's doing well. What is this called? Oh, you know, you always think you'll remember. I thought I had the tag in here somewhere. But they're almost starting to flower, so I'm so excited. They actually bloom, and they're really, really pretty. I made a video actually doing a bunch of succulents in here, and it was really pretty, but the problem is the pot is really deep, and I feel like the top of the soil was drying out, but the bottom would stay wet. And they just were not doing well. So I transferred them all into this like tin container. I just drilled some holes on the bottom. And this way there wasn't too much soil. And I felt like they were doing a lot better. They prefer to be extra dry rather than too wet. This beautiful... you know, sometimes I remember the names, but when it comes time to talk about them, I completely forget. But I think this is a Monstera as well. It's so pretty. This leaf has a little bit of texture. So does this one. So pretty. So there's that. And then over here on top of this freezer we have in here, I have another Monstera. It's also called like a cheese plant. I think that's what it's called. I could be wrong. But this one I also grew from cuttings and it's doing really well. Back there is like, it's called a prayer plant. It's really pretty. I love the different different patterns on the leaves. And this one I also got from Trader Joe's. It's really pretty. It has like pink in there. So I still didn't water any of these. Sorry, don't mind the mess on these shelves. I just kind of threw stuff in there. This one I also have been growing from cuttings. This is, I think, called like an elephant ear. No, is it an elephant ear? Something like that, similar to it. And I bought this actually at Lowe's, and I've been struggling. It had spider mites, and so I ended up getting another one, and the same thing had spider mites. So I have to be really careful with this plant and keep up on it. So I will wash the leaves with some soap, like mild soap. I like to use like Castile soap because it doesn't have any smells or anything to it. And it won't kill the plant. So I'll wash it with some soap, and then I'll spray it with either neem oil or like a... Oh, I have it here. Let me show you. I like to switch between the neem oil or this insecticidal soap. Wow, I can't talk. But yeah, I'll go back and forth between these are really safe to use inside your house or outside. Then I have this pretty, sorry, you can't really see the lighting in here. It's pretty bad right now, but this plant as well, I think I got from Trader Joe's. I had an olive tree and it just, I don't know what happened to it. I kind of gave up, and I think I'm just, when I have time, when it's not so cold, I'm going to try repotting it again and maybe prune it a little bit and see if I could get some growth from it. But yeah, I was really excited to finally get an olive tree, and that's what happened. Moving on to this side, I recently got this plant from Trader Joe's as well. It was the very last one. It's so pretty. I told Eddie it looks like, what are they called? Stingrays. It has like the pointy tails. They're really interesting. So I was really excited to get that. I get a lot of cool plants from Trader Joe's. This one over here I have, I actually got it from Lowe's. I do not know the name. It doesn't have a name on there. I tried reaching out, like there's this exotic plants thing, and it says you could go on the website, or I tried messaging them on Facebook and sending a picture and be like, can you give me a name so I know how to care for it? And no one answered. I didn't get any replies. I tried going on Pinterest, and I found some similar, but nothing like this. Like, the leaves are like really pretty heart shaped, but it's not. There's another one, String of Hearts, I think it is. It's not that. It's a little bit different, but I think it's really cute. It's still in the same pot I got it in, because again, it was doing pretty well, and then it started to die off a little bit, so I was scared to repot it. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna leave it for now, and it seems to be doing okay. I got some new baby growth over here, so I think it's doing all right. And over here I have a couple plants missing. I just brought them inside the house, but this is also some pothos trimmings that I rooted and stuck into this cute pot my friend gave me, or planter you want to call it. This is, I believe it's called creeping Jew, and there's another name for it. I think that's what it is. It's really pretty. I had a big one I bought, and I don't know, it did not do well, ended up dying on me. So right before it died, I took a couple of the clippings as well, and then one of my friends gave me some more clippings, so I kind of stuck them all in one pot, and it's doing pretty good. Down here I have like a snake plant. I took these from the big ones. I had some babies, so I stuck them in here. Just that simple one. And then this is actually, oh man, coleus, that's what it's called. You plant it outside, but I also took some clippings and just, it's standing in some water, which I have to add some, but it's been doing well. I had some of the other purple one, and that one for some reason I could not grow. It's not doing so well, so I have to add some water in here, but it's starting to flower. And this down here, again, sorry about the lighting, it's just the Christmas trees on, that's all the light we get. But this is actually, I was looking for a plant, not a plant, a seed box. I really wanted to get like a metal seed box, something with a lid. I had one, but I was collecting a lot of seeds and it wasn't enough room. So I went to a thrift store. Let me turn the camera so you're not staring at a box the entire time. But I was like, you know what, let me go to a couple thrift stores and see if I could find like some kind of box with a lid. I was, in my mind, I had envisioned like a square or like a rectangular metal, like stainless steel, whatever, box with like a lid and a handle or something, you know. So I feel like I could store my seeds. I could leave it in the shed if I needed to, so mice and stuff wouldn't get in there. So I stopped by this one thrift store, and there was the sweetest little old lady running it. And, you know, people have their booths set up. So when I walked in, she was like, oh, is there anything I can help you find? And I was like, actually. So I told her what I had in mind. So this sweet lady walked over around the entire store, just picking up, you know, not random, but she tried to find what I was looking for. She's like, oh, would this work? And she was so sweet. And I felt so bad. Anytime I walk into like a little mom and pop shop like that, I always want to buy something. Even if I don't need something, I will still get something, because I'm like, that's someone's living. Like, they're trying to make a living off of that. Like, I always like to support small businesses. I don't know. I'm just such a sucker like that. I can't ever walk away without getting something. But anyway, so she walked around the entire thing. I was almost about to leave, and she was like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, you know, what'd she say? You know, I'm sorry you couldn't find anything. And one of the vendors, or one of the ones that owned the booth, I guess she was just bringing in stuff, and I was about to walk out, and I turned my head and I was like, oh, that's it, that's perfect, it'll work. So I was so happy that I was able to buy something, and I'm sure she felt happy because she was able to help me find something. But I don't know, it was just a really cute story, and I felt happy. I left there and I was like, you know, it has so much meaning to it. It's not just like I ordered it off Amazon, you know, just, I don't know. I love little sentimental things like that. But I thought it was perfect. It's cute. It has like flowers on it, and it's kind of a little bit more of like vintagey, rustic. So yeah, that was my little story. So I have this pothos as well. And it kind of looks funny because I strung it so it's like kind of has legs all over the place, because it was hanging down, but when I would try to tuck it behind the couch, but anytime I'd sit down to like read a magazine or a book over here, it was always like on my head or in my face. So I just kind of strung it up onto the lights. I also got this cute little like boho type of stand at I think the Habitat for Humanity store. I think it was like Oh, the tag's still on here. Let's see. It was $10. I was so excited because I had something over here. Sorry, don't mind all the mess, but I had something over here that was like a little too tall, and then on top of it I had a plant, so it ended up kind of being a little too tall, and I wanted something shorter. This way, if I'm sitting here drinking coffee, I have somewhere to set my coffee down, and it's not like, you know, above me, it's kind of below me. And this poor plant needs to get watered. That's why all of its leaves are just kind of drooping. And again, I wish I kept the tag. So yeah, this is about maybe all of the plants I showed you, maybe about a third of what I have. I have some more in the guest room. Most of them are in the guest room. I have a couple in our bedroom and just kind of around the house. And I don't know, there's something just so, if any of you have plants, you'll know what I'm talking about. And those of you who don't, you're probably like, you're a crazy plant lady. And maybe I am, that's okay. But it's just something so rewarding being able to take care of something and watch it grow and thrive. So that is my little plant tour of some of them. Maybe in one of my other videos I'll show you my other plants that are in the guest room. Sorry if I bore you guys with my plants, but maybe some of you are interested and like learning about these plants. If any of you have any questions or want to know some of the names of the plants, you could always comment down below, and I'll try to look them up. What I've started to do is if I find the name of certain plants that I don't remember, I'll go on Pinterest or wherever, find it, take screenshots, and I'm starting to make a folder in my phone. I'm trying to learn the names this way I could remember them, but there are some people who are so good and will be like, oh, this is this, and I'm like, sure. Like if you tell me the name, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. But when it comes time to talk about it or like, try to remember the name, I just can't. I'm really bad at that. But anyways, I hope I didn't bore you too much with all of my plants. I hope you enjoyed watching today's video, and I will see you all tomorrow.